Do you ever wonder why certain movies are simply a disaster? Are they truly garbage? Or perhaps they are misunderstood?
Welcome to the main course of cinematic catastrophe that is Le Crap with your gourmet Chef Bri and Chef Gio.
Oh my God. Hi everyone. This is the first episode of Lay Crap. I've kind of wanted to do like a standalone podcast with you for a while, and I'm kind of low-key excited that we're finally doing it.
Yeah, hard same. Just didn't think it would be about this movie to start with, but probably couldn't be any other movie, could it?
No, it had be because honestly, this is like so key to the lore of our friendship. Like it had to be it. Like, because if we were ever going to do a bad movie podcast, there was no other choice for episode one.
Yeah, you're right on that one.
All right, so what delicious dish are we having tonight?
So, tonight we are going to be watching, just 2 days after its 10-year anniversary, no less, 2015's Jupiter Ascending.
You were telling me that you haven't watched it since you saw it in theaters, which to me is like kind of insane, especially since this movie is by all accounts your I will become the Joker moment. Other than a few clips, I've never seen this movie outside of like the stupid Eddie Redmayne voice. So
Oh yes, Eddie Redmayne. You are going to have a magical experience with his performance. Fun fact, his performance in this movie is the main reason why I didn't watch any of the Fantastic Beasts movies, despite having been a massive Harry Potter fan at the time. Such was the delight in that performance, which in hindsight was probably the best thing to happen.
honestly, like you just saw the future there. Like you just like, wow, talk about like just dodging a bullet. Holy crap. Just out of curiosity, before we kind of go more into other parts about explaining the format and then going over the movie, I gotta ask, what even drew you to watch the movie the first time?
So, this movie, like a lot of the movies I've seen, came about mainly because my uncle really, really wanted to see it, and he needs somebody to go with. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, I hadn't seen any of the reviews for this movie beforehand, but I just thought to myself, all right, even if it's bad, like, at least I'll get, like, pizza and some popcorn out of it, so it can't be too bad. And what followed was 2+ hours of, well, you'll see.
And you have me to thank for it because I am like the bestest friend ever. I totally don't enable people to do bad things. All right. So before we get too sidetracked, here's basically how the format of our show works. We'll do a little intro about the movie, just a couple quick fun facts, and then we watch the movie. We'll come back and we'll give you our thoughts. So, Gio, would you like to read a short synopsis of 2015's Jupiter Ascending?
So, Jupiter Ascending follows Mila Kunis as, I kid you not, Jupiter Jones, a cleaning lady who finds out that she is actually the queen of an alien race. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because you need to experience it for yourself. You need to experience this.
Not sure if you would call it a fun fact, but it's just oddly interesting that this actually came out a couple years after the Wachowskis' other big sci-fi bomb, Cloud Atlas, and then after Jupiter Ascending, I don't think they directed another movie until the latest Matrix movie. So that was like a good 5 or 6 years. but they were just banished to the shadow realm. So with that, we're gonna start the movie. You might hear some of our opinions, but we'll come back in a few moments for all of you listening at home, and we will give you our thoughts.
Do you know what this will do to people when they find out the truth?
You are royalty. I will harvest that planet tomorrow before I let her take it from me.
Well, that was certainly a movie.
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
You know what the crazy thing is? For the amount of like crazy bullshit and so much of it was happening, it felt like also absolutely nothing happened. Like this movie just feels like a black hole. Like it just implodes on itself into nothingness.
Yeah, it's like so much is happening, yet at the same time, nothing happens.
Nothing but capitalism, baby.
And like this movie has like 3 different climaxes, and 2 of them are like almost the same. Also, it's not like she knows that they've kidnapped her family. Like,
Yeah, like
why
there's,
is
like,
she going through with this?
Yeah, it's just like, huh? We're just doing things because.
Also, they really set this up like real quick, didn't they?
Like, how is this movie like so long, but already like the pacing is like so breakneck? It's like, what is happening?
Like, how much time has passed exactly? Could be days, could be weeks, could be a couple of seconds.
Oh, who cares?
Also, they're really going for the Hunger Games. Look, don't they dress so quirky? Vibes here.
Yeah, it's definitely. Yeah.
How far are we into this movie again?
We're like an hour and 25 minutes.
This feels like a climax, but it's not.
No, there's still like another. Like almost another hour to go.
And we still have Eddie Redmayne to deal with. Oh yeah, he's completely disappeared from this movie for like the last, what, like 40 minutes?
Yeah, just no discussion. He's just gone.
He's coming back. We're really doing the assault on the Death Star scene now. Also, we're really doing the trope of boy rushing to crash the wedding of the love of his life that he's known for like 5 minutes, huh?
I'm gonna grunt and sound angry all the time. Ugh. It has like 3 like Act 3 climaxes.
Oh yeah, hey, remember that climactic scene we had 20 minutes ago? Let's do it again. Oh, but you get it, closing the circle. He opened the movie saying, I hate my life.
Oh, what a full circle moment. Wow.
Wonder if Wolf Boy's gonna come along and sing her.
You laugh. It's, oh my god. Yeah, you know what? The thing that kind of low-key disappointed me is that I thought there was going to be more of Eddie Redmayne, but no, it was just literally those couple of clips.
Yeah, he disappears for like most of the middle part of this movie. But like when he is on the screen, oh boy.
I love how he just whispers for no reason. Like, there's no actual, like, you know, he doesn't have like a trach in there or something.
We hear him screaming, so it's like.
I'm like curious how much of this had to be like ADR. Like, genuinely, I'm like curious.
I wonder if they couldn't even hear him on set. And they had to just like turn up his volume.
Yeah, the gain on that and like the background noise must have been like ungodly.
I will take life, and I destroy it.
But other than that, like, honestly, to me, that was the hallmark of so much of this dialogue reminded me so much of the Star Wars prequels in like the worst way.
Zalanta, I think. Have you ever seen a harvest?
Oh, no. Never.
Well, there are marshals and administrators to make sure everything's done according to code, but still, it can be rather.
I am feeling the George Lucas effect here so badly.
This is why I was so shocked after I watched the movie the first time. I was like so shocked to find out that it wasn't based on a YA novel because it just has so many of those hallmarks, and it's just so like dense with like the dialogue and stuff, and like the backstory and the lore and all that.
Like, it's actually kind of shocking. Like, look, I know the Wachowskis are kind of like a mixed bag, but honestly, even from them, like to make something like this literal, low key, like I'm not trying to be mean, but a 15-year-old could write something similar and it would honestly, it probably wouldn't be like that much better, but it would certainly be better paced.
Oh yeah, there is no subtlety at all in this. This movie has to explain itself at every opportunity.
I was saying it in a bit in the commentary, but like the line deliveries here, because most of these actors like aren't bad actors. I mean, Mila Kunis is like here and there, but she's like done like some great stuff. Like I loved her in Black Swan, and not just for like the obvious, reasons. I'm just like trying to break down like how literal nothing this was, but like obviously the telescope was a big thing, but I like felt nothing from it. And that telescope death, I'm like, other than the scrap metal money, which I don't know, maybe you could get like $1,000 out of, like that whole series of events. I don't understand what the fuck was going on. He dies over a fucking telescope?
Oh, it's all coming back to me now.
Like, holy shit. I guess you could sell the telescope for money, but I'm like, why are they there? I have questions.
Yeah, so like this random like Russian mob comes in, steals his telescope, and shoots him.
He owed them money. I'd be like, okay, but it's just nothing. So just it's like at random, they're like, fuck you, you're dying.
Like, what could a astrology professor possibly owe like these random gangsters money?
And if this was like a different movie, like if he like knew about this stuff, like if he was actually like a prince and he was on Earth doing like research, like okay, like I could sort of buy something like that. But no, he's just literally a random dude.
Oh yeah, he's a random dude who just happens to like space, and then he has a daughter who just happens to be an alien princess, queen, or whatever.
Just as you do.
And just happens to name her Jupiter when it turns out that she's actually the queen of Jupiter. It's like, God.
Like cringiest cringe. But like the thing that made me like, because I vaguely like the bee thing, like I saw before, but I never correlated like the whole thing until I actually saw it in context. I have so many questions about that bee house, and honestly, that just kind of let's just get to the subject of world building. The world building in this movie is fucking bad.
It's horrendous. Like, yeah, like take that bee thing. It's like, why are they living in a house filled with bees? How are they not getting stung a million times? Were they just keeping all these bees around for the day that royalty came by? Like, why are they keeping all these bees around?
Where's Nicolas Cage? Like, he needs to scream at the bees. Like, the bees just can't, go like unimpeded just to sow chaos. I'm just going to assume that's not the only house in the area. So there's probably like a non-zero chance that a young child has definitely been stung to death by these bees.
Oh God, here it is.
Oh, so she just controls the bees?
No, just listen.
Your Majesty.
Is Nicolas Cage just gonna pop out in the corner?
Thank you.
Your Majesty has no idea of the scientific miracles that human beings are capable of. Sharing has never been the strong suit of your species, Your Majesty.
Okay. What is with this Your Majesty thing?
You've never been stung by a bee, have you?
No.
No, bees are genetically designed to recognize royalty.
There it is.
What?
There it is.
You are
Down.
Okay, hold on. I have several questions. Huh? Oh my god. Like, I know I keep bringing this up, but this is like has-been Hotel Hell of a Boss levels of logic, and I can't stand when writers do this. Holy
Here's a picture of
shit.
you making a deal with a
And you know
royal.
what the thing I also love is that in order for this revelation to happen, they conveniently go to a place that's infested with bees. And how are these two people, like, not dead? Like, I get that they have the healing stuff, but I'm like,
But if she
I would assume you get stung, like, by a high ratio of times.
this is a
Yeah, like, how are they not getting stung, like, all the time? How is it that she, like, immediately knew, oh, I've never been stung by a bee?
Like, I just have core memories from, like, the moment I was born. And honestly, just for context, I don't think I said this in the intro. I am a writer. Gio's a writer too. But when you actually sit down and like write, like, quote unquote, for reals, trademark, so much like of world building, like, you don't think about it offhand, but when you're actually like plotting a story from like beginning to end on like a beat sheet or whatever, like, so much of your story is dependent on world building, oddly enough, but not like in the way that most people think, where, you say it or like you have all this cool world building, but just like logical like consistencies to like how your world works and like how your characters interact to it. Things just happen in this universe for like no discernible rhyme or reason.
It just feels like they make it up as they go along. For what discernible purpose would you genetically engineer bees to not sting royalty? Like, what purpose does that possibly serve?
Especially like in a movie about capitalism, I'm like, what economic advantage is there? How can we profit by this? Like, if you want to genetically engineer bees to not sting so you can harvest them, okay, I would buy that.
But, like, is it just bees that are genetically engineered not to sting royalty? What about, like, other animals? Are cats genetically engineered to not bite or scratch royalty? Are sharks genetically engineered not to bite royalty? Why would it just be bees? It's such a stupid little piece of logic that just makes all the world building in this movie just completely fall apart because it's just so nonsensical. Like, why would you introduce this plot point other than to just have this little scene where she's like dancing around with the bees? And it never comes up again in the rest of the movie. So, like, why is it even there to begin with?
Exactly. It literally serves no purpose. And it's like not even that good of a scene. Like, the only time it comes up again is when Wolf Boy is having a fantasy, of the love of his life that he's literally known for like 8.5 hours.
Or maybe it's just an excuse for our character to be named, what was it, Stinger?
Probably. I'm like, if you've ever seen that picture of like Matthew McConaughey just almost like swallowing that cigarette, like, that's what so much of this movie felt like. Just a big inhale of oxygen, like just trying to get like all like the nicotine and smoke to like slowly like numb the brain so you don't have to think about it and you don't have to feel things.
It has been a decade since I watched this movie, and like the more I was seeing of this, I was like, oh my god, it's even dumber than I remember.
I don't think there's any points of this movie that like me personally made me like super angry. It was more like, haha, like, this is stupid. It's not like certain other things that I regularly rant about that I'm not going to bring up here that had plot points that made me like legitimately angry. Like, even like the weird like incesty stuff, like, I was just like, oh, well, that's kind of fucking weird.
I think when I first watched this movie, I think it was more just the fact that I was only just then starting to really grasp like writing choices. What do I have to do for world building and stuff? And just none of it made any sense. And I was just left there like, huh?
I mean, honestly, this movie is like a perfect exercise of like what not to do.
Oh no, definitely. Like, it's got the cheesy, dark, loner edge boy. Oh, and he's a wolf. He's dangerous.
It's forbidden.
And then we have like two different instances of him like crashing her wedding or something.
It's like every YA trope is present in this movie. That's why I thought after watching it, was this based on a YA novel? But it wasn't.
And when we were watching it, you brought up a good point, the comparison of like vampires and werewolves. It's like, then I realized the time period that this was made, and I'm like, holy shit, you're actually right.
They bring up vampires, and also there's a wolf boy. I wonder what other franchise was popular at the time involving vampires and wolves.
I don't know, but also this movie has like a lot of like ass shots.
Just a tad. Yeah, no, like she accuses them of being vampires. Also, we've got a wolf boy. What other YA movie came out involving vampires and wolves? And like so much of this movie visually, like obviously Star Wars is a big influence here. And I would have said Dune, but this came out like years and years before like the latest Dune movie. As I was watching it, I was like, this feels more like they're just trying to rip off like Twilight or the Hunger Games. Like, especially that wedding scene with all like the weird costuming and stuff that just screamed like Hunger Games to me.
Speaking of like the costumes, like other than that, like so many of the costumes and the design choices were like late 90s coded. Like when this movie came out, it was dated, but now it's like, even like the things, to the tropes of, let's see, we have the Asian girl with, the multiple color hair streaks. Isn't she crazy? I don't think we ever learned what her fucking name was, did we?
I don't know what the purpose of her or her buddies there was. I don't think we ever got their names or like who the hell they were, what they were doing. They just delivered her to the planet and then screwed off somewhere else.
To get like the human juju juice, I guess. I don't even know. And like the crazy thing is like they like out of like all the villains had like the most setup. And then they just disappear.
Yeah, they appeared in like the first 5 minutes of the movie and then just disappear halfway through. Also, they turned on their teammate for some reason.
I guess to like have a bigger share, but there's like no dialogue, like no indication. It's just like LOL random, haha.
But yeah, with the costuming, it's like very Fox X-Men coded with a lot of the looks.
Yes, so much leather.
So much leather and so much of the like
so much eyeliner and edge. Low key, like if you place them in front of a like 2005, 2006 era Hot Topic, with the fucking gate and everything, they would just absolutely, blend into the background seamlessly.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And like, here's like the crazy thing, like visually, like this movie did actually have a few standout moments, but they just, like you said, this movie just kind of falls in on itself. And a lot of the stuff keeps getting repetitive. So like, okay, that was a cool, the first time you watch it, but if you do it like 2 or 3 more times, it's like,
Yeah, like this movie has its first climax like with 40 minutes left in the movie. And then 20 minutes later, it has another climax, and it's almost the exact same setup of her trying to sign her life away, and now he has to go save her.
And you know what? The one thing I noticed, and I'd have to go through frame by frame, but when Channing Tatum's like in the spaceship or whatever, I think in both those climaxes, they reuse the same footage. Because it's like the exact same setup and like the exact same camera movements.
It would not shock me. It would not shock me at all if that's what they did. It feels like they set up just way too many villains in this movie and didn't really develop any of them.
No.
It's just a bunch of intergalactic capitalist rich boys with mommy issues. And that's it.
Yeah, dealing with the space IRS. Well, speaking of the one sibling, like they all just like disappear.
Oh yeah, she completely vanished after like her introductory scene of like getting in that weird fountain of youth thing. After that, she just completely vanished.
They just come and go. Like, as far as I know, like she's the only one that's like kind of okay. So she's just like, whatever. She's like, okay, you can have the Earth. I'm just gonna go vibe here. So I'm like, okay, what was the purpose of this character?
And then the one brother tries to marry her, which has all kinds of weird problems in and of itself. And then Eddie Redmayne's character is probably the most memorable character in this movie. He's gone for like the bulk of the middle part of it.
What was necessary to rule in this universe?
By killing people?
I create life!
God.
I create life! I can't remember if it was before or after this Eddie Redmayne won his Oscar, but he should be forced to fucking give it back.
Was this before or after the Stephen Hawking movie?
I think it was after? God, let me actually look that up.
That's where your mother taught you the
I think that was the same year this came out.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was the same award season. Yeah, The Theory of Everything came out in 2014. This came out in 2015. Yeah, that's... Wow.
That's a downgrade. It's like, you try to set up this dynamic of like, oh, here's 3 siblings who basically control the universe, and now their mom is back. Oh, what kind of problems is this gonna cause? But you don't even really see any like interaction between the 3 outside of like the beginning of the movie.
Like, you don't know if they hate each other, like what their whole like relationship is, because like on the surface level, like that could be like a unique idea. Okay, so your mother's reincarnated and it potentially throws the whole galaxy like out of whack.
Yeah, there's a lot that you could do with that. And it's like, oh, how are they gonna react? But we don't really get that. It's basically, oh, the sister is just all nice to her and then vanishes for the rest of the movie. One brother tries to marry her to get the money, and then he gets foiled. And then Eddie Redmayne's character tries to get her to sign the stuff over, and he gets foiled. And then that's it.
And like the crazy thing about it too is like this movie, like, it is not subtle in its commentary about, capitalism down to the fucking space IRS or whatever the hell that was.
By the way, we spent like what, 10 minutes on that sequence of just her trying to get like the title and like the space IRS with like Robot Bob or whatever his name was.
It goes without saying that graft is incompatible with my programming. I think you dropped something.
Press your thumb in the depression.
I'm gonna bribe the space IRS. So why is his face just slightly separated from his body like that? I'm so uncomfortable by that.
No, yeah, it's kind of low-key uncomfortable. Also, I love a space movie, but yet everything's conveniently written in English.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that you can't, that maybe English is just, like, the universal language. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of weird for me.
Yeah, like, this movie feels like it's, at some parts goes hard with, like, the alien stuff, and at other times it's just like, no, not really.
And, like, the weird thing about it is she acts like she's, like, so inconvenienced, but, like, it's still assumed that she does it, like, within the day. I'm like, honey, have you talked to an American health insurance company? I'm like, I wish my issues got resolved within a day.
Oh yeah, and speaking of that, like, it's the pacing. Oh my god, the pacing of this movie is just horrendous. Like, we have no idea, like, what the time frame of this is. Is it over the course of several days? Is it over the course of weeks? Is it all in just the same day?
Like, who knows? Who cares?
Like, for all we know, this whole little adventure could have happened in the span of a single day.
Yeah, and, she just decides she really likes dogs and that she will mate with him no matter what. She will live her weird, Omegaverse fanfic.
Ugh. I love dogs. I've always loved dogs.
Really, really, really loves dogs. She is, like, non-existent. Like, it's actually kind of amazing.
My internal compass needle points straight at Mr. Wrong. Maybe it's my genes.
Maybe it's my genes that I'm gonna force this love story on. Oh my god. This is...
And if that's the case...
I'm starting to understand how you lost the mind of this movie, because a lot of these are, like, my least favorite things ever.
I'm a splice. You don't.
She has known this guy for all of, like, 5 minutes.
I have more in common.
And she's like, I want to bone you.
I love dogs. I've always
God, that long.
I should go, Your Majesty.
Right.
You need to strap in before.
He's like, I'm more like a dog than a human. And she's like, but I've always loved dogs.
Now I'm just thinking of like Roy Mustang from the 2003 FMA, and he's like, I love dogs.
And like, does she realize the implications of that?
It's going beyond furry. Like, this is just, we're fully in the bestiality. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck that dog. I'm gonna fuck him raw.
Any part of you wanna...
But even like the costume design, like the colors, the way this shot, like this honestly feels like this is a movie that came out like 25 years ago versus like just a decade ago. It feels so dated.
Also, she is seriously like trying to pound him right now.
Oh yeah, like no, she has the eye. She's like, I've known you for exactly 6 hours, and
I love dogs.
I love dogs.
It totally forgotten about that. God damn it, Cole.
Hey, Reggie, you want to get down?
Scoob, I've always loved dogs.
Like, might have to... Like, I'm not one for, like, calling the cops, but in this instance, I might call the cops.
Raggy? Why are you looking at me like that? I'm sorry, Scoob. I just really love dogs. I've always loved dogs.
And I want you so bad. Just, I
just love how they made him growl, like, every so often just to remind us, oh yeah, he's a dog boy.
And the weird thing is he doesn't do that until after that reveal. Like, I don't think he does that in the beginning of the movie. He's just like, I'm cool, I'm edgy. And then I'm revealed to be like a werewolf or whatever. And he's like, I'm gonna growl between my dialogue. Just, I'm so angry all the time.
And there's really nothing that dog-like about him physically other than like the slightly pointy ears. Oh, and then he gets wings at the end for some reason.
Yeah, he literally just turns into a Vivzy Pop character.
You just couldn't resist bringing it up, could you?
No, I'm sorry, but that literally is. I'm like, oh my God. I'm just like going through my notes again, but you kind of brought up like a really good point. Jupiter's like a terrible protagonist, and she literally has like zero agency.
Oh, she has absolutely no agency at all. Things just happen to her, and she reacts. And she plays like almost no part in it. Like that ending climax, final battle, whatever. She spends 90% of it just running. Just like running away while everything else is falling apart around her. And then like she whacks Eddie Redmayne a couple of times, and then that's the extent of it. But 90% of the time, it's just her being held hostage by somebody or her being forced to like sign a contract or something. It's like she has like no real power in this world. Like, you compare, I know I keep bringing this up with the Hunger Games, but it's like you compare that with Katniss, and like pretty much everything in that story is driven forward by her because she's actually doing things.
No, I mean, that's a very valid point. Like, some of it, I was just rolling my eyes. Now, like, I haven't read any interviews about like the creation of this movie. Like, if this movie was supposed to be like a satire and she had like no agency, then I could get it. But everything from at least what the movie is telling me is being played like pretty straight. So it's kind of like misogynist. And for like two trans women who like wrote and created the story, I'm like, ladies, please, what are you doing?
Yeah, no. And I think that's exemplified, especially in that one car ride scene where Wolf Boy is bleeding out, and she's like, oh, what are you doing? You're bleeding out. And he's like, oh, it's fine. And then she's like, oh, you're lucky that this car belongs to a woman. And then she gets a bunch of medical supplies out of the...
She gets like a fucking maxi pad. Like, yeah, they're amazing. It's not gonna stop anything, just fucking for experience. Let's use her. I don't use them. But yeah, stuff like that, or like when Eddie Redmayne's character is like watching the flashback from the oh yeah, she also tries to sell her like eggs for money, just
This movie has a strange obsession with her being dressed by somebody else while she's sleeping, and it's really weird. And like they even bring that up at one point.
Oh my God.
Do to make the journey easier, you let us know.
Actually, you know what? I'm feeling a little overdressed, so if you maybe have something that I could change into by myself while I'm awake.
We're actually
Acknowledge it.
acknowledging it. But it's like bringing it up doesn't make it any less weird.
No, it just means that you're trying to be cute as a writer and you're just being annoying. But anyway, so the shot of like Tatum, like, so she's in like the medical dress or whatever. So, they're harvesting her eggs. So I'm not going to go in detail how, if you're a woman, if you're doing like that type of medical exam or whatever, how that works, but you're not wearing underwear. So, like, he's just getting like a full, 4K view of, what's going on down there.
Mm-hmm.
And they just like never address it. Look, I'm all one for ass shots, but this movie has like an alarming number of ass shots.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I can really say is there's a lot of ass about this movie.
Ass and more ass. But honestly, maybe it's because like enough time has passed. But I mean, the ending is like obviously like such a cop out. But I'm like, does it like actually like piss you off? Because honestly, like after like my brain just kind of realized, I mean, I already knew going into this is probably not going to be a deep, rich, fulfilling experience. But like you just turn off your brain, and realize that, okay, like you're probably not going to get that much out of this movie. But even for what it was, like, I wasn't expecting her to like rule over Earth or anything, but like that ending was like such a nothing burger.
Yeah, and like, what does that even mean? Like, now she just runs Earth. Okay, what's that mean?
She just has her wolf boy.
Is she actually going to do anything with it? Or is she just going to stick to cleaning toilets?
She could stop war, like she could do like anything, but she's like, no, I'm just gonna speed skate with my wolf hybrid boyfriend. Okay, I mean, you could do that. I don't think you'd necessarily be wrong for doing that, but I'm like, that's probably the least interesting choice you could have made.
Yeah, definitely. And it feels like that whole wing scene thing was just to have like a quote unquote cool ending shot, which wasn't even that cool.
Especially when you can see it clearly switches to like CG Mila Kunis. It's like, oh. But honestly, I am kind of glad that I saw this just to like understand. And I kind of feel like maybe past me would have like gotten like really mad at that. And I feel like here's like the thing about movies, especially when talking about them on the internet, like so much of it is like reactionary, and a lot of it is kind of like overblown for even with movies that, kind of deserve it. But every movie is kind of like a miracle. And, some miracles, you kind of get the little ugly babies. Like, not everyone's going to be perfect. But the one thing that I personally can't stand is when people just like belittle saying, oh, like you did nothing or these people are lazy. I'm like, no, a lot of work goes into making these things. And, sometimes things just don't work out. But now that I actually am a big girl and, I've taken one professional writing class, so, ooh, super bold there. But even like working with you and your stuff and just, watching and observing things, I felt like I could actually appreciate this movie. Like, I understood what this movie was trying to do. I just don't think it did it like really super well, but it's like interesting in an exercise of just seeing, okay, like a movie with a bunch of good ideas that are just really badly executed.
Yeah. When I'm thinking back to what 20-year-old me must have been thinking when he first saw this movie, watching it again like 10 years later, it's like, all right. It's still bad, like really bad. But at least I can acknowledge that it's fun bad. Like the stuff with like Eddie Redmayne or like the bees or like the I've always loved dogs. Like that's silly bad.
Yeah, it's not like offensive, like, actually like angry bad.
Yeah, like it's not like offending my sensibilities level bad. It's just weird writing choices and like overstuffing the plot and like everything being confusing. But I think with like 10 years of like seeing other movies and like writing my own stuff now, I can at least sit down and be like, all right, is this a good movie? No, not at all. Is it as bad as 20-year-old me remembers it being? Debatable.
I mean, I do think like this movie does have some redeeming qualities. I think the score is fun. there are some really pretty visuals, but I kind of feel like it's offsided by some other like goofy choices. But some of the action set pieces are like surprisingly well done. It's just kind of a shame that they're not in a better movie.
Yeah, no. Like, when the action scenes come up, you can tell that this was made by the people behind The Matrix. Sometimes you can tell a little too much, i.e., with how much slow mo there is. But, like, yeah, the action's fine in this movie. I didn't mind it. It's just, like, everything else surrounding the action that's more questionable.
Yeah, so it's just kind of crazy because it just feels like this weird time capsule of a movie that it is like so mid 2010s coded, but with like 90s, like, I don't think decoupage is the right word, but decoupage is fun to say.
I think you could say it's 2010s tropes with a 90s aesthetic.
Yeah, no, that is to a T what it is. So if you like those things, like, I wouldn't recommend like staying away for not watching it. I just think you have to go into it, with, this movie's dumb. You're not probably going to get a lot out of it. Like, there's some nice set pieces, and the music's surprisingly okay. So I think if you come into it for like what it is, you can have like a decent time with it. Like, I don't think there's anything to super write home about, though.
Not at all. Basically, it's just a 2010s YA movie. And, like, it really, really wears that proudly.
Honestly, good for Lily and Lana for like trying to do something, because obviously, like, I feel like this movie was geared towards like a younger audience, that they wanted to try to do something different. So, I mean, kudos to them for at least trying. This just doesn't really work at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
And honestly, like, I don't miss the YA trend. I do not miss that era of movies at all. Like, say everything that you will about the current state of like Hollywood with all like the cinematic universes or whatever, but low key, I feel like the YA era of Hollywood was arguably worse.
Yeah, where basically every single like YA novel was turning into like a movie trilogy, and it's like, okay, no. Like, everybody just kept trying to find like the next Twilight or the next Hunger Games, and it's like, no, 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 no.
No, especially since so much of YA is like questionable to begin with. And then you're adapting something that's, its shelf life is already kind of leaning towards the expiration date a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But did you have any other thoughts about Jupiter ass sending?
I love dogs.
And I love ass. I love so much ass. Sorry, the dad joke was there, and I just had to take the opportunity, because if this movie's just gonna have like bad puns and be, the worst, most generic character names, then god damn it, I deserve it.
Ain't that the truth? Oh, and in case I haven't gotten one in already, Channing Tatum did not make a name for himself right here. I am sorry, I need to make it.
I know it's him, but he's like so unrecognizable. It's like the fucking Justin Timberlake frosted tips just threw me off, but I think that's enough 90s tropes for one day. This was very fun to record. Hopefully, when our schedules align with the stars and the cosmos, we will do another episode. But Gio, where can people find you on the interwebs if you should so desire to speak it?
So you can find me on Blue Sky, because the other app is total trash, at evking13.bluesky.social, if you so desire.
And I will give you a warning, proceed with caution. But if you wish to follow me, I am also on Blue Sky at crazylemur.bskysocial. Technically, I'm on Instagram. I will try to show my photography a little bit more there at Lemurs Roll 1. And I exist in places. Whether or not you want to find me, that is your choice, and you will have to live with that choice.
I just really love dogs. So.
I love dogs. Anyway, thanks for watching the podcast, Raggy. We will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Oh my god! We just cut to Jupiter.
Waiting for her to ascend.